This is not a table, this is a plain range. And while working with formulas, it can be quite confusing, especially for beginners, to determine exactly where to put these dollar signs or appropriate cell referencing. Look here, if I autofill here and check for the last job title, there's a problem. It's not picking the right range. And I have to manually um, lock these cells, in this case, absolute referencing, and I'll do even for the second part like that. And this time round, if I autofill, it's now working. Plus, if we want to add additional data into our data range and checking for the formula, it is not updating the new data in the ranges. The solution to this is an Excel table. An Excel table will solve this and do much more. And in this tutorial, I will teach you how to optimize the use of Excel tables to make your work easy in Excel in 7 different steps. Let's get into it. To create an Excel table, watch out for 2 things. If you have empty cells within your data range, then ensure to select your data range manually. In this case, I will Control Shift and down, and then go to Insert tab, and under Table, you can see that the shortcut for creating a table is Control T. Okay, so let's click Control T, and it has autonomously selected our range. And ensure to check this place where it is saying my table has headers, because of course we do have, and click OK. Just like that, we have the official Excel table. If there are no empty rows or empty columns in your data range, then you can be free to click just anywhere within your data range and click Ctrl T right away, and it will do the same thing. To edit your table name, head to the Formulas tab and then to Name Manager, and from there you can double click in order to change it. We can say employees, and then click OK. Alternatively, you can click Edit and you can edit the name accordingly. The shortcut to access the name manager is Ctrl F3, okay? And you will be able to edit your name accordingly as well. Close. Look at this. When you scroll up, your headers replace your column labels, and that is automatic freezing of the headers. That's a cool feature, right? When you click anywhere within your table, the table design tab pops up, and what is in it? Let's look at it. So at the very end here, we have the table styles, and you can change your table to the color of your liking or the style of your liking, right? I'll retain mine. As you can see here, by default, your table will contain the filter buttons. If you want to remove them, you can just uncheck there. But why not have it? And these are not necessary, actually. These are not necessary, but the one that we will need is the total row, and we will see it later. Refresh is so much important when updating your data, and this one we rarely use it. And insert, the slicer is simply a filter on steroids, and this is very important. Summarizing your table with a pivot table we will see later. And this one, from the name alone, it removes duplicates from your data. And this one, converting to range, to convert your table into a plain range. And this one allows you to change the table name, and of course this one will help you to resize your table. Okay, to turn your table to a plain range, ensure to click anywhere within the table, go to Table Design, and Convert to Range. Do you want to convert the table to a normal range? Click Enter. But then you don't you still see this formatting here. In order to remove it, then click Ctrl A to select everything in the table. Go to Home tab and come to this place, click on it, and then click Clear Formats. And just like that, we have a plain range. Let's look at how to select parts of a table. Suppose you want to format the annual salaries here to put a currency sign. It doesn't make sense to select the entire column. That will slow your worksheet. Instead of that, move this arrow. When those 4 arrows appear, then move a little down, and when that changes to that arrow now, click on it, and now it selects your data. If you want to select the header as well, click again, okay? And the same thing can be done with the row. This will select the entire row, but when you move it and click it again, it will select the row alone. And if you want to select the entire data range, come here, you see, look at the way it appears, click on it to select the data values alone. If you want to also include the headers, then click again, okay? Alternatively, you can use the Shift and arrow keys to select the parts you want. For example, let me select this region. Okay, let me go to Home tab, come to Format section, and I want to put a $sign, and let me decrease the decimal points like that. Okay, now it looks cool. How do you move columns or rows? Let's select this column. That is one way to select, of course. Double click. Click again in order to select the header as well. Another way to select that part of the data is to use the Ctrl-Shift-Down key, and that will do it. Now, come to the edge here until you see these 4 arrows, and then you can drag this column where you want. You see, Ctrl Z to go back where we want. So you want to ensure that you have selected even the header, because suppose you select just the values alone and you try to move it, it's going to overwrite. And there's already data here. Do you want to replace? So that's a problem. You don't want to do that. The same thing with the rows as well. If you select the row like that, and then you drag, and you can move it there, and that will do it. Ctrl Z to go back. What happens when we add data to the right side of your table? For example, let's put here region, copy. Clicking enter, it becomes part of the table. And even when you go to table design and look at the resize table, now the range is from A1 to I15. Okay, so this is cool. When you add data to your table, Excel table will adjust the formulas accordingly without you having to again go and change the formulas. And to see that, let's calculate the revenue generated by these employees. And we want to use the SUMIF function to calculate the revenue generated by these unique job title employees. Okay, so we want to sum if the range is from the job titles. So we can select this like that, comma. What about the criteria? The criteria is this HR specialist. Okay, and the sum range is, let's go to actual cells, and we can select like that. Okay, let's click enter. As you can see there, if we autofill, we see that it has done it appropriately and there is no need for cell referencing. Okay, that's nice. Now, let's add some rows here and see if there will be a change here. Okay, some additional data we have here. Ctrl C, come back to our table. Control V. And as you can see, it has changed. Let me Control Z, Control Y. You see the change? You see the change? That is very much cool. The formulas of an Excel table has different syntax. Let me show you that. For example, if we wanted to copy, to get these data values, we can write the name of our table, that is employees, and if we click enter, it will copy it here in a dynamic array. You see the blue outline there, and it's not giving us the headers. And if we want to do that, okay, equal sign, the name of our table. Now, ensure to use a square bracket, and you see here where it is written with hashtags, just come and pick headers, and then close the square bracket and click enter. As you can see, it has updated the headers up there. Go to hashtag all and close the square bracket. Click enter, and as you can see, everything is there. What if we want just one column? Say this column consisting of the quarters. Okay, so we can come and say equal our table name, and then square bracket. Use hashtag all, but something here, before using hashtag all, put another square bracket, and then go to hashtag all, tab key, close that one, and comma, then open another square bracket. But this time round, we just want what? The quarters. Okay, sorry. Hashtag all, close it, comma, square bracket, the quarters, square bracket, and then close the entire thing. When you click enter, it gives us just everything. So the purpose of me showing you this is just to show you that the table has a different syntax for its formulas, but you don't have to commit everything here, all these syntax into memory, because you can always just come and select what you want, and Excel will fill in the formula by itself. What about the total row functionality in Excel tables? So click table design and click here to check. Can you imagine calculating for sum, average, and even median, and all these statistical parameters without writing a single formula? So powerful. And as you can see 14 there, that is the count of those values. Let me click here, and as you can see, we have a drop down list here. And just by clicking like that, you can find the mean, you can find the sum, and even the standard deviation, and you even have more functions there. Okay, now I want us to investigate what function are they using here. They are using subtotal to calculate, to make these calculations. Can we try to write it on our own? Equals to subtotal. Okay, now you can see all these parameters here. Okay. And you can pick what you want, maybe standard deviation for a sample of population, and then give the array. And just like that, you have it. Let's try to find out if we can get the median using subtotal. Just try to look on your own. Try to look. We cannot find a median here. So while a subtotal is good, it has its own limitations. And another function that can do more than subtotal is aggregate function. So let's write it. Aggregate function. Now this one, as you can see, just look at it. So this one provides all the parameters that subtotal offered plus some more. In this case, we even find the percentiles and quartiles here, and even the median that we wanted is also here. Okay. Now, it also gives the options to ignore what you want. In this case, you can ignore hidden rows, and all these options here, but in this case, we don't want to ignore anything. And now you can give it the range or the array, and just like that, you get it. So that's how to use the total row functionality in Excel tables. What happens when you have a pivot table associated with your table, and also say a pivot chart here? And remember, we updated some the table, we added some information here, but when I created this pivot table, it didn't have that data. Now, what is cool about Excel table is that it is going to update even the pivot table and the pivot chart once you refresh the pivot table. To create a pivot table, you go to your table, click anywhere, and table design. You can go to summarize with the pivot table, and then ensure the name. This is the name of your table, and then we can put the pivot table in a new worksheet or on existing worksheet, but I just prefer the new worksheet. Okay, then you click OK, and just like that, you will see these fields. I'm not going to go deeper into this, but ensure to see the next lesson on this. Let me go Ctrl-Z and delete this one as well. Okay, so suppose you have that pivot table, and we added some information on the table itself. So in order to update it, go to pivot table analyze, and then come here to refresh. Just come here to refresh. Okay, now I want you to see what will happen. When you click refresh, something changes here. So that is the advantage of a pivot or of using tables. If this were a plain range, then you will have to go and change data source and update the table range. But this is not the case with Excel tables. Another cool functionality of Excel tables is the use of slicers. And as I told you earlier, slicers are basically filters but on steroids. Let's say, for example, we take the employee column and also pick actual sales column, and then go to insert tab and recommended charts and pick these actual cells and create this visualization. One way to adjust for something is to use filters. Say, for example, we want to see only for Australia. Clicking OK. That table will change. In this case, that way. Let's select a different region. It seems there's a problem here. Let's select those three. And it's going to change like that. But as you can see, it's not convenient. It's not convenient. So allow me to clear that filter. Now, instead of slicers, we are going to use, instead of filters, we're going to use slicer. So click insert slicer. And in this case, we want to filter based on job title and even region. Okay. Let's select those two, or even quotas. Okay. And click OK. And so you will have these boxes here. And notice when you click on one slicer, we have a slicer tab, and we can adjust this to about 4 columns because we have 4 quarters there. And let's format it. Okay, let's say we have those 3 filters, and now we can enlarge this thing for us to see things better. Okay. Now this here is multi-select option. If you want to choose many options, you can select here. If you don't want, if you just want to pick one, you uncheck that. But I always like having multiple selections. So in this case, we will have a dynamic visualization. We can pick those quarters, and we can go and uncheck for Europe. We can you can be creative, whatever you want to do. And as you can see, this is a very cool feature. I believe by now you are a master at using Excel tables. And at the same time, also trust that this video has been valuable unto you. If that is the case, kindly ensure to like this video, and if you are new to the channel, ensure to subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next lesson.